Jonathan Regev. Jonathan, good evening.
Evening, Ayman.
Well, we already have one champion in the World Cup. Who is it?
As someone who grew up in Argentina, I would say River Plate. They are the finalists of the Club World Championship. They beat Hiroshima 1-0, and Hiroshima, basically the home team as this competition is held in Japan. River scored through Lucas Alario. We're seeing the goal at the 72nd minute. It was not an easy match. The Japanese side was actually far better in the first half, where they had a few chances, but the Argentine goalkeeper kept his team inside, and they scored in the second half and qualify. They will face in Sunday's final either Barcelona, European champions, or Guangzhou, Evergrande, Asian champions from China. Most people would bet on Barcelona. I do, but the Asian champions are a good team. That semifinal is tomorrow. Barcelona will probably win it, but they're not going to have it easy either.
And speaking of big bets, you brought us several examples of sports events being held to show the closening relations now between the U.S. and Cuba, but now in Havana, the most significant one yet?
Yes, a delegation of the MLB, Major League Baseball, is currently in Cuba. Baseball is something the United States and Cuba have shared the love for the sport, even through 50-something years of embargo. The thing with this delegation, there are two Cuban players who actually defected, left their country in secrecy to join American clubs, because so far, and still to this day, Cuban players are not allowed to play in the American leagues. So these two players, who may have been arrested if they came back to Cuba a year or two ago, now they're part of this delegation, which apart from showing the good relations getting better between the U.S. and Cuba, is also aiming to find ways in which Cuban players, there are many good Cuban players, how they can move to the United States. Yes, to the big money of the MLB. That's part of being a professional athlete.
Risking imprisonment, now that's commitment to the game.
Yes, and they're back to Cuba.
And yesterday, Jonathan, we finished with you wanting to fly away in that beautiful ski images that we saw yesterday. More winter sports today.
Yes, it's called luge. Luge. And every time I watch it, I remember that the very funny movie I saw 20 years ago called Cool Runnings, actually depicting a true story of a Jamaican team. Yes, Jamaica competing in the sport of luge. It's a true story. It actually happened. They're not bad. And this event happened in Austria, and Patrick Pigneter, not from Jamaica, but from Italy, he won this event. I just love it. It's there's a very funny scene in which they dance to reggae, say yaman, yaman, in the middle of doing luge. This is what it reminds me. It also looks beautiful. I love winter sports. They just look fantastic.
Well, our editor of the news today also loved the movie, he's telling me. And if Jamaica can do it, I believe you can do it
He's
too,
also
Jonathan.
old enough, like me, so that he watched it in the cinema 20 years ago. That's what you're saying.
Jonathan Regev, always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Same here. Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for us tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow at the same time. Join us then. Until then, good night.